Achyuta Keshava Harinarayana Achyuta Keshava Harinarayana Bhavabhayaharana Vandita Charana Bhavabhayaharana Vandita Charana Raghukula Bhushana Rajiva Lochana Raghukula Bhushana Rajiva Lochana Adi Narayana Ananta Shayana Adi Narayana Ananta Shayana Satchidananda Shri Satyanarayana Satchidananda Shri Satyanarayana Atma Rama Anandaramana Achyuta Keshava Harinarayana Achyuta Keshava Harinarayana. You mentioned in some of your earlier sessions that we need to have a single cognitive shift in our thinking, outlook, and mindset as part of our spiritual journey. Can you elaborate on this? How do we apply it in our day-to-day life? What kind of challenges can we expect? Whole course is about that. That's what we're doing, elaborating that. But see, I think when we talk of cognitive shift, it's like this. Even though we hear extensively about Ishvara being everything, still when I see something, I don't see Ishvara. There's a question somebody has asked also. How do I see Ishvara? That's all we are trying to find out, right? And there are two levels. One is you're not negating this flower. We're not saying the flower doesn't exist, right? We accept a flower. In fact, when you accept a flower alone, you have to now say the flower must have had a cause. When I accept a pot as a karya, as something which is born, then I must be able to appreciate that the pot must have come from something. It cannot have come from nothing. This is called karya karana, prakriya. When you see an effect, you have to understand there must be a cause. Whether you know it or not, there must be a cause. So where you see the effect, you see the cause. Now if you start with this, you say where I see the pot, I see clay. That's easy, relatively easy. But now you have to see where you see clay, you see Ishvara. Where you see gold, you see Ishvara. And you can go 10 levels in this chain. Does it make a difference? Finally, we are looking at that point where it is not a karya. And I'm saying it requires a certain deliberate effort to bring Ishvara into my understanding. This is at one level. Also, when you see people and their behavior, this is an area which requires a lot more effort to see that the behavior, I'm not saying is appropriate, I'm not saying is acceptable to you, but I'm saying that behavior is sthane, it is in place because there is a reason for it. This is a cognitive shift in a way, because you have to appreciate nothing happens without order. Karturajñaya prapyate phalam. Not just result of an action. Every situation is a result of someone's action or a collective action. So can I see, and when I say Ishvara, it's not just another word. Pujya Swamiji would say, if I say pot, what remains in your head? Not this, the idea of pot. When I say car, a car comes to your head. When I say Ishvara, what comes to your head? What comes to your head? If you get one Tirupati Venkatramana, that's your Ishvara. Now, when I say pot, do you just get a pot? Or do you get Ishvara as pot? That's a shift. And I'm saying it's easy to appreciate as you hear or read, but that shift in our thinking hasn't happened yet. You still only see a person, and that person is not right. In your view, the person is not right. Their behavior is adharma even, let us say. Still, the person is acceptable. The behavior is adharma, but the person is acceptable. Why? Because the person is governed by the same order that governs my behavior. It's not a game. It's not easy to see this. It requires an application of the mind. Because you have to shift from just seeing a karya buddhya, karana buddhya. As you see an effect, because every behavior, every situation is an effect. Because it's born of something, correct? Are you with me? So now that for that behavior, for that thing to be there, what is the reason? I think the reason itself is flawed sometimes. But when you say Ishvara, you understand Ishvara means there cannot be a flaw. Achyutaha. Chuta means what? Fallen. Slipped. Achyuta, that which never slips. Infallible. The infallible is Ishvara. What does it mean? What is the way it has to be. Given all the factors, if one factor changed, the outcome would be different. But given everything, this is how it has to be. Which means I'm validating the behavior of everything. I'm even validating the society's moral order, which in every generation we say it's going down further. In Shankara's time, he says, Vaidiko dharma shithilayate. It's weakening. It's becoming weaker. What do we say today? Shithilayate. Does it change? You ask your parents, was their generation better or not? They will tell you yes. You ask your children, they will say your generation is better. Is that not true? So it's a constant thing. So this is how dharma is, this is how it will work. But when I say you see order, does it mean you don't do anything about it? Whatever you can do, you want to do, the freedom to do remains all the time. We will see more of it tomorrow and day after. Because we are yet to come to Karma Yoga, will come. Next verses will come. But the point is, one level you have to recognize the presence of Ishvara. And you see the pot, you also recognize a pot maker. You see the world, you also recognize the world maker, and not separate from the world, but as the very expression of the world maker. This is one level. Very, very important. Can't be bypassed easily. The second level is Twampada Vichara. Where do you place the I? So if you look at it as I said, suggested in the morning meditation also, what is I? What is not I? Start that way. See, Ramana's meditation, who am I? I will say do a meditation, who am I not? Try. Who am I not means what? Whatever becomes something which occurs in your mind, whatever appears in your mind is not you, because it's a fleeting, momentary thought. Any judgment we have about ourselves, is that a thought or is that anything more? It's a thought. I am so sad. I feel very hurt because animals are hurt. I feel sad. Nothing wrong with you. You feel hurt. But I am hurt. Is that true? If you are hurt, it means if hurt is inherent to you, you will always be hurt. You will always be hurt. But you know you are not hurt. That's why you understand hurt is not interesting to me. Correct? Only because you know what it means to not be hurt, you know what is hurt. But now you say, I am hurt. What's the logic now when you understand this? If hurt comes and goes, hurt is not other than me, but I am not the hurt. Oh, I'm so dumb, I can't understand. This class is too difficult for me. Everybody else understands. If you feel that way, what do you say again? That feeling came. It went. I am not dumb. I'm very intelligent. You are not that either. Equally applicable. Anything that you judge yourself, you have no valid basis to judge. Right? You keep going. What will you find to judge yourself? How will you describe yourself? Any word, any expression you use to declare, to describe yourself will be what? A thought. And I'm telling you, every thought is momentary. So who are you? You have to say, I am undescribable. You arrive there, then Shruti will tell you what you are. You are in clean situation. Until you say, I am so and so, Shruti can't touch you because you already decided I am an idiot. What can it do to you? Idiot wants to know something and become better. The idiot wears a hat. It's an idiot with a hat. That's the shift again where you say you transcend the identification at this level and identify with what you really are. And that's a fact, because what is you? That without which you cannot be. Look at it that way. Avyabhichari aham. What never leaves me alone can be I. Because anything that comes and goes, you were there to know it's coming and going. Can you negate this argument ever? But how alert are we to it? Only in Vedanta class we will be alert to it. Because at this time we are in a mode. We know how to answer questions. If a question is asked also, I'm sure you'll answer it correctly. Because right now your frame is this. It's like being in physics class, you answer physics. But once you leave physics, you leave it. This is not like that. This is about me. So, with the same conviction that I say, this is me, can I say with the same conviction, this is not me? Then what are you? I am. What are you? You need a place to hang this I somewhere. Then Shastra will say, Brahman you are. You hang it there. It works that way. We'll spend a lot more time on this. We are just warming up to it, okay? Next 15 verses I told you is not so much about the absolute truth. But I am giving you glimpses starting up front so that you can see more as we go. Okay? All right. So challenges, what kind of challenges, how to apply, I think I told. We have to be alert and we have to see why we are going back. Many a time the problem is an emotional issue at times, or a very strong feeling about certain things, the values sometimes, For example, somebody says, Swamiji, I cannot handle dishonesty. I can't take it. Why people lie? You can't stop them. They are professionals. They have such thick skins, they don't, even if you tell them something, it goes away. The fellow says, definitely, you ask a fellow, I need this thing done tomorrow, it's very critical for me. Will you deliver the oxygen cylinder? My mother is not very well. Pakka, definite, it will come. Today evening it will come. Fellow won't show up. Call him at 6 in the evening. He will say, I'm coming, sir. I'm coming. It's a life and death situation to you sometimes. And the fellow won't show up. Then you call him, he doesn't pick up the phone. 2 days later, he will call you and say, I'm here now. Sometimes they do that. And then you ask him, he'll have a sob story. What can you do? You can try to straighten out and say, did you not lie? You lied. What do you gain by fixing him up? You can't fix him up. Now you lose your sleep over it saying, this fellow lies. Everybody lies. They are all dishonest people. My boss lies to me. He tells me something, he does something else. You have to suffer the fellow. Better understand that he is what he is. You don't let him bother you. That requires a shift because your value is a person who lies is not a good person. Growing up, our value was parents give the value. If anybody smokes, if anybody drinks, they are not good people. That's the value we had. Drilled into their head. Now you go to the hostel. What do you find? You are the minority. And you are the idiot. Because everybody else does that. Then you go to a job. Then what do you find? My boss comes to my apartment and smokes there because his wife won't allow him to smoke in his room. What do? You have to put up because of the boss, okay? Now you say he's a bad guy. Then I realized, boss is a very wonderful person. He's a very nice person. Straight, clean, technically competent gentleman. But smokes. Does it make him a bad person? But the value I had was, if they smoke, they're a bad person. If they drink, they're a bad person. Now you look upon them, look through to them with that eye, you can't look at them as they are. People who drink are not bad. In fact, people who are addicted to drinking sometimes are helpless. They are not bad. That's a different way of looking at them. Cognitive shift. Challenges are our own attitudes, prejudices we have. The concepts of Kartru, order and grace were very well explained. Do we need science-based examples and explanations to understand Vedantic principles? Who is the questioner here? So identify the person here. That, okay, good. So, do we need to understand a thing, whatever we need is fair. If science helps, I will use it. If science doesn't help, I won't use it. Why science? Because when I say Veda is Pramana, how many people understand it? You tell me, how many of us today really know that, the earth goes around the sun? Can you prove this? Or that the earth is not flat? How many people know? Can anyone prove it here? Yes? No. But do you take it as a fact or not? But if I tell you when you pour ghee in the fire, you get some result, do you take it as a fact? You ask, how? Why? What is your attitude to science? Real. Shraddha plus plus. Not just Shraddha. It is real. In fact, you are taught in school, science. And our customs are called what? Superstitions. Our civics books had the words Andha Vishwas, Andha Parampara. This is what you had in CBSE books. So what do you learn now? For you at that age, your teacher is God. Because what they tell is real. Parents tell something, it's useless. What the teacher tells you alone is right. Because the parent themselves tell you, Guru Brahma. Unfortunate, You respect. And that when he says this, you don't respect, how can you do that? You respect all the way. Now you start saying all we do is Andhabhashwas. Get programmed. Now, Veda is always questioned. How by pouring ghee it will go somewhere? How is it that when you put your mail with an address, it reaches the addressee? How does it reach? How do you know it will reach? You take a postcard, you write the name, address, you put it in a box. How does the letter reach from the box to you? How? It reaches how? So also when you pour and say Agnaye Swaha, Agni the postman, it carries it, okay? What's your problem? See, Star Wars, what do you say? Beam me up, Scotty. Whatever, They do something like that. So you see that and you're okay with science fiction. But when I say this Ahuti will reach Varuna, you will say, where is Varuna? This attitude is there. Therefore, where do you have Shraddha? Science. So I will start with science as the basis. To say what? Where there's an effect, there must be a cause. Very useful to make us relate with what we are talking. What's important is we're able to relate and see the truth. When the truth is seen, Shraddha comes. Then once Shraddha comes, I don't have to prove. That's the idea. Okay. This, although given in good intentions to attract youngsters, even older people, seems to have led outside the class to different approaches and arguments. One school of thought believes that science can explain things without Ishvara. Natural evolution, selection, and stabilization. It's not today's problem. It's a problem from time immemorial. That is why we have different schools of philosophy, because everybody thinks they know. Without knowing what is the means of knowledge to know, they try to know. You cannot make your perception go where it cannot reach. It is mere speculation. That one has to understand. So it's not new. And if somebody thinks, see, if you discuss outside class, it doesn't reach me. If somebody asks me, I will show how it is not true. Not a problem. Because understand the basics. What is not within the realm of perception cannot be known by a human being as knowledge. If you can see, only inference is possible then. Without perception, inference cannot happen. Are you with me? Therefore, if these two are not there, whatever somebody argues, it doesn't matter. And I'll tell you one more thing. If it makes you agitated that people argue like this, you understand they have a need to argue, and don't try to convince them otherwise. This is very important. Let the people live in their own world. If you allow people to be in their own world, you can be at ease. If you want them to convert to your thinking, you are in trouble. Samsara, new samsara will start. Gurukula samsara. Don't do that. Just let them be. What could not be explained will probably be explained as technology progresses. Fair enough. We already have nice arrangement in Veda. Anything that you can know through another means of knowledge, Veda is only restating it. We don't claim it to be a means of knowledge for that. For example, if the Veda were to say, Agni is hot, Veda is not a means of knowledge for that. It is a restatement because heat is known to you by perception. There is no, it's called Anuvada. Veda has got many statements. Some of them are called Arthavada, which means it's not exactly what it says, but it's trying to convey something. It may be a praise, exaggerated praise, exaggerated blame. It could be a restatement. These are given. There is repetition meant to highlight a particular point. But the important feature of pramana is it should what it tells you should not be available for an alternative means of knowledge. This test, does it pass? Does it create knowledge, the vritti? Does it pass this test? Does it serve a purpose? Another test. If it's Shabda Pramanam. If these three are passed, it's Pramanam. Nobody can shake it. Elaborate discussions on this if somebody really wants to know. If they want to sit and speculate, that's their privilege. Okay. Polar group comes up with theories that modern scientific discoveries were already said, pointed out in scriptures. Yeah, there's a problem, If you go to our old scriptures, we already had rocket designs. Do you know how Ravana kidnapped Sita? Pushpaka Vimana. And you know what Pushpaka Vimana's feature was? You wish you had that plane today. It can expand to take any number of passengers. Whole Vanar Sena went into that when coming back. And it will go. No GPS required. You just tell go, you go this way, it will go that way. It's already programmed. No GPS spoofing. What a plane we had. No fuel. Designs we had. Vedas had rocket designs. We were the first. Fair enough. And all this was destroyed because people took it away. Fair enough. Now where are you? This all is important because the people try to show, the colonial interest was to show that you have nothing with you. You're just savages. We civilized you. In that context, it's important to see that I have a rich heritage. That pride in our heritage makes a difference. Because what am I? Not Vedanta now, okay? What is my opinion of myself? Suppose my father I'm ashamed of. Father is only a upalakshana for my entire past. If you think all my grandfathers and great-grandfathers were idiots, what am I? Therefore, that pride, that self-esteem is badly damaged when you look down upon yourself. Because you feel, I'm not worthy. Why not worthy? Because my color of the skin is black. The white men are Bhagavans. You create that view. They are superior. You have to say, yes, sir. You have to say yours obediently. These are all creations, right? So in that context, I think some people do an overcorrection. Everything we had. Not true. But there's a desire to show that we were very well positioned, and there is truth in it. There's some truth in it. They don't know enough. They deny a civilization before. They say Aryan invasion. If you read the book, maybe it's still on a bookstore. The invasion which was not, I think. So, it tells you clearly how the whole thing is a nice story. Then they will tell you there is no Saraswati river. Hydrological evidence shows there is Saraswati river. A lot of such things. But I am saying sometimes, you go a little more. Because you want to prove a point. That may be the case. Okay? This brings me to the important question as to what rishis meant or wanted to convey when they use the term Vijnanam in our scriptures. I suppose it must be different from what we understand today as science, as a body of knowledge with our modern education. Please explain the root meaning and import of this word as used in Vijnanamaya Kosha, etc. Very, very contextual. Vijnanam can have a lot of meanings. Sanskrit is too broad. In some context, it will mean Vijnana Vikara. In some context, it will mean that due to which you will be able to recognize the one whole. So in Gita, you will see, Jnanam Savijnanam I will give you. 9th chapter, I think. There it means, Jnanam is the knowledge that you are Ishvara. Savijnanam is along with the methodology to understand it aparoksha. That is Vijnanam there. Another place Vijnanam will be a Vishesha Jnanam, some special vritti, etc. Contextually we have to see. You cannot, in fact, if you want to understand the complexity of this, you have to look at the word yoga in the Bhagavad Gita. Somebody can do a PhD on that. What does yoga mean? It's so many meanings within the Gita. So very difficult to give one meaning. Okay? You said everything is Ishvara, like flower, gold, etc. But I don't see Ishvara in everything. How can I see that? Whose question is this? Good. Please put your name when you put a question. That will help. All right. So, look, we will go through it again. Now is not the time for this. At 8:40 in the night, it won't enter your head. If it didn't enter in the evening, it won't enter now. We'll make it enter in the morning sometime, okay? How do I know that I'm not limited to this body? Same answer. We will look into it. Right now, next 3 days, don't worry about it. Okay? After 6 days, you ask me the question. If it's still there, I will answer it. Okay. Then, I would like to understand a little more in detail about being religious and spiritual. I do not organize pujas often, just once in a while to mark some event. But a friend of mine does pujas for every Purnima, every Pradosha, visits all temples all the time. I do not see myself being able to be so ritualistic. My kind of religiosity is I light the diya every morning, every evening, dhoop, agarbattis too, extra. Swami Sadatmananji Sadatmananji in his welcome speech mentioned that you should be religious. My question is, how much is too little or too much? Good question. How much? Okay, what's the difference between religious and spiritual? Words are used, we should understand them. What does religious mean to you? Huh? Religious is repetitive. Why? Separate? Then what is the meaning? You can help me. See, the word is there. You should tell me. What does the word mean? Religious. What do you understand by the word religious? I told you, even shaking hands is a ritual. Let me help you here, okay? In general, coming from English, religious faiths. Religion is faith for them, in general. So what is religion? Religion always involves a theo, a God. There's a theology involved. All right? So generally, religious means you relate with God in a given way, in some way. How you relate is up to you. And the rituals are there actually in every religion. They don't accept it. Why should you turn towards the Mecca and only do namaz? That's a form. That's a ritual. Why should you sit in a given way? Why should people go and pray on Sundays See, if you go to church, how do you go? You go up, they say you dressed in your Sunday's best, which means you go very well dressed with suit, boot and everything, But in our culture, what do you do? If you have a boot, you have to take it off. Not allowed in a temple. So there is a difference, right? So religious basically means there are some religious norms, some conventions you follow them. All right? What is spiritual? Swamiji's definition of spiritual is how much spirit is there in your blood. No, just joking. Spiritual means you understand that my problem is not centered on the world. The problem is centered on me. Therefore, the solution is also centered on me. This is called spiritual in this Gurukulam, okay? So now, in the West, Religion and spirit are very diverse because spiritual is being more realistic. Religion is being dogmatic. Just having some belief which you have to hold on to because otherwise you're Satan. Satan is holding you. You have no place to think freely. Whereas in our culture, spiritualism is the basis for our religion. Okay? So when Swamiji says you should be religious, it means don't bypass Ishvara. Don't try to bypass Ishvara. In what way? By relating to Ishvara. You need to have a relationship with Ishvara. When you say you light a lamp, why do you do it? You don't light a lamp just anywhere. You have an altar. What does the altar signify to you? Ishvara. Form or formless? With a form. So you look at that form, and through that form you are praying to the power behind the form. You don't see the power, but you say, because I need, this mind needs something to hold on to, you give it a form. So when the form comes, Ishvara comes to your mind. The form goes, it goes. So it's a beautiful method to get started. Right? And it's extremely important that we have, because forms decide or will make your spirit what it is. Let us say you decided no forms, no namaskar, no hello, no WhatsApp messages, no form of communication. What relationship will you have with anybody? The form preserves the spirit. And if the spirit is gone, the form will die away. Forms cannot survive. Rangoli is already dying away a lot now. What is the spirit behind Rangoli? You know the design they put in front. Why? It is called Bhuta Yajna. If you notice here in our temple, you will see the squirrels are coming and eating that Rangoli. But what do you put at home? Modern days now. The fellow comes and gives you. It's, quarried granite powder or something. It's very cheap. He sells it to you and it looks white and it costs you nothing and it's just there. Do it. Design is wonderful, but the spirit is gone. Correct? What does lamp signify? Light, which is opposed to darkness. Darkness means ignorance. Light means knowledge. Asato ma satgamaya. Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya. You light a lamp. You are not trying to illumine Bhagavan. You are trying to illumine your own ignorance and get rid of it. These are all the spirit. So it's useful. And secondly, unless you build up a relationship with Ishvara, that relationship will crumble. Krishna says what? I said crumble if you didn't hear the last word. Okay. So, Krishna says what? You have to know Ishvara is what? You have to know Ishvara is essential reality, along with seeing the presence of Ishvara as what you call this, Adhyatma, the world, Adhibhuta, that which governs the world and your body, Adhidaiva. All of these, Adhiyajna, what governs the Karma Phala. All of these, in every one of these, you should recognize Ishvara. Then alone you recognize Ishvara really. Not just Sachidananda, I am consciousness. I am consciousness will not take you anywhere because your consciousness even now. Your being consciousness will not solve a problem. You will now say, I am consciousness, still I have a problem. That's the only difference. So, how much religiosity? Depends on how good your relationship with Ishvara. If you have a very strong relationship because you have had it in the past, it has delivered the goods to you. But if you don't have a relationship and you think, I'll just manage with Vedanta, it won't work. Karma Yoga is the next step. It's not a religious life, but it's a life, a secular life in a way. Not secular, I shouldn't use the word. Secular is only for government. Everything in India is religious except the government. So, What is this now? Karma Yoga, we'll see later, is you have to do whatever you do, keeping Ishvara in view. That's a prayerful attitude. Not prayer, prayerful attitude. A prayerful attitude cannot happen unless first there is a prayer. So, that's the way it works. We'll see more of it as we go further. Is it necessary to have purpose in life? I don't know. In my understanding, we have a purpose. If we have a purpose, we are guided to work to achieve that. But isn't it better to just be in the moment and go with the flow? The reason for this question is this. I get asked very often, what do you do the whole day? My response is, I've been there, I've done that. Now I'm just doing my duty according to my current dharma. Which means you seem to have a purpose in life, that you should do your duty. Then you don't have a problem, you have a purpose. But if you ask, do I need a purpose? If you are happy with whatever happens to you in life, you don't need a purpose. That's an avadhuta. What is he called? Yadrichha labha santushtaha. Dvandvatito vimatsaraha. Yadrichha labha santushtaha. Whatever Bhagavan brings to your day unfolds, you will say, fine. Fine means what? You will do what you want to do. Whatever you have to do, you will do. You are hungry, you will go ask for a bhiksha. If you get it, you will eat it. If you don't get it, you will go to another house. If you don't get it also, you will sleep hungry. No complaints. You will go to another village. Whatever you can do. But you are fine. You don't complain. You don't cry about it. You say, okay. Are you like that? That's a jnani. I am not like that. I want things work properly. If you want it, if you don't have a goal, what will you do? What will your life choice be decided by? Raga, dvesha. Your likes and dislikes will drive you. Because nothing else, you have no other basis. You cannot not have likes and dislikes. And if you have no basis to make a choice, you will go anywhere. If you have a purpose, then hopefully that purpose will make, it will be a central thing in your life. Purpose for life, not purpose in a given day. Purpose for life means all your life must be, must revolve around that purpose in some way, which means your whole life gets reorganized for that purpose. So, it's good to have a purpose. Otherwise, we say you could become a person who is what called swachhanda, vyavahara. Swachhanda vyavahara means you do as you like, no qualms, no rules, licentiousness. I feel like I do it. Whatever I feel like. What's there? Nothing. No rules, nothing. So what happens now? Now you have said you don't want to use your buddhi at all. It's like living like an animal. That's not human at all. If you want to make a choice, either you can accept everything and make choice within dharma, or you better have a purpose and a direction. It's better. A rudderless plane won't go anywhere. See, I heard long ago Osho on a tape. One tape. It was an interesting one. So he says, you imagine yourself on a plane. Okay? Concorde, let's say. Super fast. And then the pilot says, please, ladies and gentlemen, please fasten your seat belts. We are ready for takeoff. We don't know where we are headed. We don't know where we land, whether we land. We are taking off. Where would you be in that plane? So if you don't have a purpose, that's what it'll amount to, you're clueless. You drift with the winds. Vayur navam ivambhasi. Like a boat which has no direction. Whichever way the wind blows, it goes that way. Will it reach will it have a destination? Will it go anywhere? It's just floating. That's not life. Not a good way to live. Okay. I think with that I answered the electronic questions. All right. Who is this? Oh, you. Okay. Good. How can we know that everything is consciousness, that Sat is also Chit? Perhaps all that I am is consciousness, but how could I know that there is nothing beyond this? Everything made of clay could be seen essentially as clay, knowing nothing of cold. The wave can recognize identity with ocean, knowing nothing of outer space. True, will be answered. It will come. The text itself will cover it. Okay? Simple cue to your answer is how Ramana will address it is. First, do you forget about consciousness? Who are you? That's the way it will be approached. Until you take yourself as one confined to this, you will only see a world and realities with forms. Yat panchakoshatmaka vishwamasti. Ramana will say, Saddarshanam. Until for you, this, if you identify yourself with this five, this body and mind, etc., until then, not that, it's a different verse. Sarupa. Yeah. Sarupa dhir yavad asti. Until you have this idea that I am a person with a form, then Vishwa is with a rupa. It has a form. Arupa atma yadiva kaf prapashyet sa drishti reka. If you see yourself with no specific form, then your questions will go away. I'm not saying I've answered your question, but I'm just saying, take the cue I told you earlier. Whatever you objectify cannot be you. Where will you end? Where will you end in what you are? How will you say what you are? Whatever you objectify or not. Do you objectify your body or not? Yes. Do you objectify mind or not?
Yes.
Do you objectify the waker or not? Waking person. I'm awake.
Yes.
Do you objectify dreamer or not? Dream world, dream I had dreamt.
Abstractly, yeah. Yes.
Do you know you dreamt or not? I don't know if you dreamt, but you know, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know you slept or not?
Yes.
You know all these. If you know all these, you were there when they came and went. When the sleep arrived and sleep left, you were there. Otherwise, you can't say, I slept and I woke up. You were present. When the waker arrived and left, you were there. When the dreamer arrived and left, you were there. Who are you? You are not a waker. If you are a waker, you should always have a waking world. If you are a dream world should never go away. If you are a sleeper, you will never be talking to me. Therefore, if you are present in all of them, then you are a constant presence. Do you recognize that presence? You can't objectify it, but you are it. And that, if you recognize, when you talk of, how do I know this, anything, etc. How do you know one consciousness? Not by objectifying, by being. Are you with me? Then can you count a second consciousness? You should count a second you then. Because you can't count a second consciousness. You can count second body, not a second consciousness. All right?
But how do I know there's not something outside of what I can?
Whatever you know is with your thinking. And the thinking itself is not there when you're asleep. The thinking is not you. The thinking goes, the thinking comes. Who are you? Not the thinker. Everything is derived by the thinker's notions. And a thinker is not an absolute real entity. The reality of the thinker is what we call consciousness. It's not sentience in one body. It is that, like the electricity in all bulbs, it's one. We will understand that more as we go. Okay? This is just I don't want to leave your question with no answer, so I give you some answer now. Okay? But the direction is exactly this. Brahman, Sat, is said to be limitless, but it seems to be limited by what is as opposed to what is not. The laws of universe are such that some things are possible and others impossible. Each follows a certain order which implies a disorder. Correct? That it is not. Can we call this asat? How does Advaita Vedanta account for this duality of what is and what is not? Good question. But I'll tell you what we say. It is viditat anyat, aviditat adhi. What is the truth is different from the known and the unknown, the knowable and the not knowable. It is different from what you call is and not is. The pot is. Yes? The leaf is. All right? Whole leaf was. Now what? Whole leaf is not. Is opposed to is not, is not. That's what your question is, right? Is and is not now. Leaf is, now leaf is not. Did is go away? Pieces of leaf are. Number changed. Isness didn't go. Suppose you made it into a pulp. Pulp is. Suppose it became fertilizer. Fertilizer is. Pot is. Flower is. Does is ever go? Does is come? The is and is not you're talking of, knowing and ignorance you're talking of, is all coming from here. That is not the is we talk about. We will see that more. Again, these are all things which are yet to come. Like I told the other lady, 6 days from now. Okay? You can ask me again. Right now, hold it there. Okay? All right. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om